orgies, sex changers, and female impersonators. Sex in the wild is more than the birds and the bees. The rituals and dangers of wild sex. Now on Wild Discovery.
Of all the sexual strategies, one of the best known is combat. Wherever there's a rampant male lording it over a herd of females, there's trouble. There's always another male wanting to horn in on the group. For elk, trying to score points in the mating game is about strength, stamina, and head-to-head conflict. It's costly in time, effort, and the risk of serious injury. Is sex so important? Or is it a headache we could do without? Fair in sex and war. There are bare-knuckle brawlers. There are kickboxers. There are even heavyweight contenders. The dust-up is over a female. Solitary bulls seek out herds of cows when they're ready to breed. Elephants are not the only tussling tuskers. Nocturnal tusked wethers are the heavyweight battlers of the insect world, like armored crickets on steroids. Large or small, most males prefer to live to fight another day. Lions are built to fight over their pride. But lionesses can be choosy. It's the female who decides who's king of the beasts and who's just a beast. Winners don't always get what they expect. Some creatures have given up fighting altogether and resort to ritual to sort out the men from the boys. Garovo lizards rely on macho posturing. The men head bob on the rocks, while the boys practice their posing from the safety of the trees, well away from the action. A female judges a senior male strutting his stuff, trying to impress her. She's impressed. The biting may seem rough, but it's only token aggression. By convincing her that he really is big and strong, he stimulates her egg-producing hormones. Some feathered males have abandoned combat altogether, hoping that beauty will catch the eye of the beholder. The peacock's display proclaims to potential partners that he's at his peak. But perfect plumage takes a great deal of energy to produce and maintain, and makes flight difficult. These visual extravaganzas probably started as simple devices for identifying one species from another. Over time, they become more exaggerated, more flamboyant, and more attractive to females. Proof of fitness and good health. If power dressing doesn't impress a drab female, the bird of paradise dances. The rifle bird is in evening dress, a courtly lord of the dance, wooing his lady. Long-tailed manakin holds dance classes down at the Hop, his traditional stomping ground. He takes on a young apprentice because manakin hens are only interested in a double act. If the synchronized dance is well received, the master leaves the stage and the female follows to mate. The apprentice is left to practice his steps. One day, he'll inherit the perch and take on an apprentice of his own to attract an audience. Outlandish visual displays are usually daytime affairs. Night moves require a different strategy. A female moon moth releases amazingly powerful chemical messages from her abdomen. These pheromones can carry 3 or 4 miles downwind. They're picked up by the male's exceptionally sensitive antenna. In this tropical forest, sex really is in the air. The male launches into a search, sifting the breeze as he flies, using the scented signal to home in. He's drawn to her like a moth to a flame. Sac-wing bats have musky glands under their wings to tempt a female. Wafting your armpits usually does the trick. But she's just not in the mood. Sexy smells are crucial for most mammals. Lions are typical scent markers. Their pungent urine declares their territory and advertises for a mate at the same time. A male koala keeps a calling card close to his chest. Dominant males tag territory shared with a few females by rubbing trees with a special scent gland. He backs up his perfumed messages with belligerent bellowing. Love songs are yet another sexual ploy, effective by day or night, over land and water. Male alligators slap the water to threaten rivals and attract females over short distances. But they also broadcast low-frequency sound produced in their rib cages. These vibrations carry for miles. They're almost beyond our hearing. But their courting calls are some of the loudest around. Females are attracted as if to a magnet. She communicates her readiness to mate by climbing on his back. Calling for a mate can be a thankless task. The prize for persistence goes to a peculiar nocturnal parrot. New Zealand forests once reverberated with the kakapo's baritone booming and falsetto chinging. Kakapo are now almost extinct. There are few females to answer his call, and this one is immature. Others within earshot have already mated. The ground-dwelling parrot's obsessive calling for mates is an open invitation to predators. Mud puddle frogs lay masses of eggs. They need to, because the frog population is under constant attack. Females are drawn to the loudest males, but their songs can have a fatal attraction. When bats launch an airstrike, smart frogs swiftly impose radio silence. Unfortunately for frogs, once bats have locked onto a target, there's little chance of escape. The loudest males get the most mates, but they also make the easiest takeout dinners. Successful courting can be short-lived. In an Irish stream, danger comes from an unexpected source. When tiny freshwater shrimps are plentiful and food is scarce, desire can take a surprising turn. In overcrowded conditions, a male shrimp looking to mate has to tackle the competition. But if he misses out, he can look for a female with her defenses down. A molting female is soft and weak. She'll be easy to copulate with until her new shell hardens. Her discarded armor is a dead giveaway. A male sniffs her out. She looks good enough to eat, and that's just what he does. Faced with the choice of mating or feeding, he decides that copulation can wait. For this Irish shrimp, food is more important. As for sex, well, there are plenty more shrimp in the stream. A tiny male redback spider knows how important a meal can be to win over a giant female. For foreplay, he lightly taps her abdomen. And then he makes the ultimate sexual sacrifice, offering himself as a wedding breakfast so he can mate. He throws himself into position. As he pumps sperm into her, she sinks her fangs into him, eating him alive. As soon as he withdraws, he's done for. But she stores his sperm to fertilize her eggs for the rest of the summer. He has surrendered his life to father hundreds. Gift-giving is a vital part of courtship for many seabirds. Bowing and scraping are a good start, but there's no substitute for a good-sized fish to win the affections of an Inca-turned female. She needs to know that her chosen male will be a star turn when it comes to feeding their chicks. Hummingbirds are always solo mothers. The males are far too busy protecting their assets, the richest feeding spots in the forest. A male will see off all comers to establish control of the best flowers and the best perches around them. When he's a bird of power and influence, he'll allow some females to visit in exchange for sex and fatherhood. Cunning females often trick males into trading mating for meals long before they're ready to lay eggs. But the males don't lose out. Well-fed females are more likely to be effective mothers. For satin bower birds, a well-decorated property is highly desirable. A male constructs an elaborate show home. He embellishes it with an abstract collection of blue trinkets, just as impressive as his bower, and just as useless. Females who finally decide to mate will build their own nests for laying in, leaving him to his real passion, fussing over his collection, an obsession the neighbors simply don't appreciate. In the vast Southern Ocean, island real estate suitable for starting a family is in short supply. For elephant seals, each overcrowded foreshore is a war zone as they battle for seafront property. Successful beach masters control between 20 and 30 females. Their attraction? A safe spot for raising pups. There's always another challenger. Pups can be innocent casualties as these sumo wrestlers of the southern seas throw their considerable weight around. For every winner, there are many losers. Defeated bulls sometimes vent their sexual frustrations on half-grown pups. Their crushing weight can be fatal. Rampant male hormones can destroy life instead of creating it. Elephant seals are extreme examples of the aggressive approach to sex. But it doesn't have to be this way. There are many more ways of breeding. Sea urchins are surrounded by predators, so they've opted for the numbers game. They expel countless sperm and 500,000 eggs to take their chances on the ocean swells. A female lobster can release more than 1 million eggs in a single spawn. But even she is not the record breaker. The star of mass production reproduction is a gigantic mollusk. The giant clam can spawn 200 million eggs in a single day, an unmatched feat of fertility set adrift on the tide. Filter-feeding barnacles might also be expected to release eggs and sperm into the water because they're permanently glued to the rocks. But a barnacle doesn't need to leave home to mate with the neighbors. The humble barnacle boasts the world's longest penis for its body size. The scent of developing eggs triggers the reproductive urge. In terms of sheer size, the record-holding male is a whale. Southern Rights have a 10-foot penis and half-ton testicles, and they use them for a most unusual competition. Rather than fighting for possession of a female, males will take turns to mate with her. They produce so much sperm, it can flush out previous males' offerings. It's a very civilized ritual. Sperm contests are a sexual strategy that applies much closer to us. Like humans, black macaques live in large social groups. When females are ready to mate, their rumps swell up and turn a vivid red, making it easy for males to recognize their sexual receptiveness. Females prefer the attentions of the group's senior male, but when he's preoccupied, younger males seize their chance to mate. The macaque's promiscuous lifestyle seems fairly relaxed, but there's a war going on inside the females. The sperm wars have only just been discovered. It seems that many creatures produce more than one kind of sperm. It's well known that swimming sperm are designed to race towards an egg, but there are other troops in the battle for fertilization. Killers attack and destroy sperm from previous males. And blockers curl up in a rear guard action. They build a blockade against foreign sperm yet to come. The different types of sperm reflect a long history of promiscuity in primates, and that includes man. This suggests that once humans were naturally much more promiscuous than our modern culture allows. Serpent sex is on a grander scale. Garter snakes take sperm wars seriously. Dozens of small males chase each large female. It's a case of first come, first served. A successful mating seals a relationship in more ways than one. The first male's sperm dries into a cement-like plug, blocking any other male's sperm from entering. Wolves also use a plug, but it's more primitive. At the end of mating, the male is so swollen he cannot withdraw. They remain locked together for up to half an hour. By now, she's safely fertilized, and his fatherhood is assured, albeit rather painfully. When a lion finds a female who'll accept him, he becomes a constant consort for the few days she's fertile. He'll mate with her up to 85 times each day. A blitzkrieg approach to the sperm wars. With a little time out to cool off. When a female koala's call to a senior male goes unanswered, an opportunist steps in. Despite her protests, he forces her to copulate. The commotion attracts the dominant male, who leaps into action. Fighting is bitter, with bites being aimed at the ears and reproductive organs. If you're going to be sneaky, it pays not to get caught. Australian wasps also resort to sneaky tricks to ensure fatherhood. Here, a female lowers her antenna in a submissive posture, encouraging the male to mate. The arrival of a second male could complicate matters, but the first male has a cunning plan. He stays coupled to her as long as he can. Then, as the female breaks away, he mimics her submissive pose. Confused, the second male mounts him. By the time he realizes his mistake, it's too late. Female wasps stop being receptive within a minute of being fertilized. Now she's not interested. In a sticky situation, the female impersonator has triumphed. One species combines 3 of the classic male strategies. Side-blotched lizards can be standard, macho, or sneaky. It's all a matter of timing. Standards defend a small rock-top territory. They bob their heads, controlling 2 or 3 females. But every couple of years, larger, stronger lizards emerge, macho males. They drive off the standards and take over much larger territories with 8 to 10 females. By the next breeding season, machos are in the majority, but brawn doesn't always mean brain. Now, small males emerge, looking remarkably like females. They sneak furtive matings right under the machos' noses. Down in the rocks, the sneakies are hard to detect. By the time the machos work out what's going on, it's too late. This season's eggs will produce a majority of sneakies. Standards, machos, and sneakies each get a chance to dominate breeding for a couple of years. The cycle starts over when standard males re-establish control. With fewer females to guard, they can spot the sneakies, so they take back the rocks, at least until the machos return. It's one of nature's most complicated mating systems, and it seems like an awful lot of fuss. Some creatures keep things simple by taking the sexes out of sex. Hermaphrodites combine both male and female organs in one body, but they still seek out a partner to mate with. Leeches indulge in heavy necking to get both sets of organs into position. The exchange of genes is important for variety. Self-fertilization would result in inbreeding, limiting the evolution of the species. These wrasse take double roles a step further and can change their sex. A large, colorful male leads a harem of small, plain females. They all started life as tiny, undeveloped juveniles. Juveniles mature into females and stay that way until their ruling male dies. Then, within weeks, the senior female transforms into a male and takes charge of the group. The fish don't have separate sex chromosomes. Each individual carries genetic blueprints for both sexes, allowing them to make the switch according to circumstances. If changing sex seems confusing, consider the case of a tiny freshwater fish in the American Southwest. No males have ever been found, but females clone daughters with just a little help from their friends. They rely on males of a similar species to court them. The smaller males' attempts at fertilization don't work, but they do get the females in the mood. They can produce fertile eggs without having to mate. Where guppies have sideline sex, some lizards do without it altogether. Along the edge of America's great southwestern deserts, whiptail lizards waste no time or effort on sex. There are no males. Small, isolated populations are made up entirely of females, all exactly the same. In such arid surroundings, they have to time their egg-laying to within a few days of the coming rains. Somewhere in these lizards' past, they inherited a double set of chromosomes, allowing females to lay fertile eggs without needing a male's complementary sperm. It's a genuine virgin birth. The tiny, shriveled eggs are perfectly designed to absorb moisture to hatch. The whiptail's breeding strategy is finely tuned to the current climate. The wet season is a time of plenty. Whiptail populations boom as the females produce perfect replicas of themselves, generation after generation. But scientists now suspect that bringing in the clones could be a fatal flaw in the whiptail strategy. Because they're all virtually identical, they're all equally susceptible to the arrival of new diseases or parasites and changing environments. The sex-free females are believed to be remnants of larger whiptail populations that have already been wiped out by climate changes over the past few thousand years. By foregoing sex, they could not respond as forest gave way to hot, dry desert. And the lizards that have survived are equally unable to react to change. Their evolution has stalled. For most animals, when sperm meets egg, the resulting offspring will never be identical to the parents. Every time a sex cell divides to manufacture either sperm or eggs, the split shuffles the genetic cards. The result is a constant flow of different individuals, and some will be more successful than others at outrunning the onslaught of new diseases, new predators, and changing environments. So sex is our best chance to keep up in a world that's constantly changing. Over countless generations, it creates variety. And that makes all the fussing and fighting and dancing and prancing worthwhile.